Hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I appreciate your support as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Got some wild stuff here to talk about with Paige Bueckers at UConn. But first, I have to address the previous video, or maybe even the one before that, about Lexi Hull's comments when asked about Chelsea Gray as a passer. I was going through all the comments, and I have to tell you, I'm actually kind of shocked at how many people got really angry with me and completely missed that the whole video was done with a lot of sarcasm, a lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of fake outrage. That I wasn't really angry or upset with Lexi Hall for what she said. It doesn't seem like that got across, but I feel like the whole world's turned into Sheldon Cooper and nobody gets sarcasm anymore. But so for those of you that were upset, so upset. People were unsubscribing, calling me a moron, and on and on. It was kind of wild. Yeah, I was having a little fun with it because I knew what was. I mean, first of all, we know why the question was asked. Okay. And that's the type of stuff that's going to happen all the time. As some people mentioned in the comments, kind of the same vibe that went on with Kate Martin when she was with the Aces and they stuck her between Becky Hammon and Asia Wilson so she could be asked about what an amazing person Asia Wilson is. And then, yeah, look, there probably are a few actual Clark fans who were really upset with it because it sort of felt like same old nonsense all over again. But for the most part, all I saw from Clark fans was just like they were resigned to being exhausted by the fact that the Hatelens, the anti-Clark fan club, was going to use that to troll the Clark fan club, and they were just kind of exhausted about it. I don't think anyone was actually truly outraged. I know I wasn't, but apparently many people did not quite get that. I will say the only legitimate thing that irked me just a tiny bit was when she went over the top and talked about having never received behind the back passes before when you just played with Caitlin Clark. But the whole thing was really not that big a deal. I think she could have just praised Chelsea Gray as a passer and be ready and then stopped. The extra was probably not needed. I think that's what kind of got some people going about, oh man, they're going to use this against us and it's exhausting. But anyway, so the people who need to hear this probably are never coming back. But anyway, I want to dig into this about Paige Bueckers because I thought this was kind of wild and interesting. So we have these three ladies. This is with the Athletic, and the lady asks for a bold prediction for 2025, and it is bold. Absolutely, it is bold. So she does bring up Paige. She makes a bold prediction for Paige Becker. So let's check this out, and then we'll talk about it.
Big, bold predictions around moves in women's basketball.
Paige Bueckers will not declare for the WNBA draft this year.
That's interesting.
Well, first of all, she'd be locking herself into a rookie contract that is presumably worth far less than it would be were she to be drafted in 2026. So just financially, it doesn't make a ton of sense to play in the WNBA as a rookie in 2025 versus 2026. Also, there's been a lot of buzz around whether Paige actually wants to go to Dallas, given the instability with that organization and political climate in Texas too. You know, that factors into things like women's health rights there. And then I don't think UConn is going to win a national title this year. So I kind of feel like maybe one more year of Paige and AZ running the band back and that's their time. If she were to declare this year, she would lock into a 4-year rookie contract that averages somewhere around $85,000 per year. Whereas the expectation is that salaries will jump significantly with the new collective bargaining agreement. So she would have the opportunity to make a lot more money on her rookie contract if she waits in college for one more year.
Big, bold prediction.
Okay, well, there is a lot to unpack right there for sure. So let's get started. Now, a lot of people were saying at the time and since that it was already a huge mistake for Paige Bueckers to return for a fifth year. She could have been part of a historic rookie class. I think part of it was I was going to say NIL money, but I think more part of it was she wasn't going to be the number one pick. And I don't know whether it was, people around her, her agent maybe, or Paige herself who wanted to be the number one pick and that played into it. I don't know. I think that was probably part of it, but she could have been a part of an historic rookie class. Look, the ratings, attendance, and all that, we know we all hate when it's Caitlin Clark. But from a talent perspective, this was quite a rookie class with Caitlin Clark and Kamilla Cardoso and Rickea Jackson and Cameron Brink and Angel Reese. It was a quality rookie class that brought a lot to the WNBA this year, and Paige Bueckers could have been part of that. At this point, she could already have a full year of experience in the league. She could be playing either overseas or in Unrivaled right now. And instead, she's going to be behind the curve of her real class. She absolutely has to declare for the draft in 2025. Waiting an extra year for a higher rookie salary doesn't make any sense for a couple of reasons. One being Paige makes plenty in endorsement money. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there's someone living in Texas, especially who knows. I don't believe there's state income tax in Texas. Is that correct? Also, the women's health argument is just weird. I think she just, I don't know, went right to a talking point, I guess, because I don't see Paige getting pregnant anytime soon. And it's not like she doesn't have the means or doesn't travel a lot where she could easily leave Texas if that were actually something that was a problem. Because we all know she's talking about one specific issue when she says women's health rights. And I don't think any reasonable person on either side of that issue, as divisive as it is, thinks that that would be an issue for Paige were she to play in Dallas. She travels all over the country. So it's just kind of, I think it was just kind of a knee jerk response. I don't believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know better sources, but I don't believe there's ever actually been legitimate buzz about Paige not wanting to go to Dallas. I feel that that is something that has been completely fan driven and not something that we've gotten from a credible source such as Paige herself or anyone in her circle that might have knowledge that the rest of us wouldn't. Now we could go back and we could say, oh, well, maybe that first argument is sort of the only valid one, which I kind of took away with the endorsements, but also, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the salaries will adjust to the new CBA. So Paige would not be locking herself into 4 years of this rookie contract if she came out in 2025. The rest of the stuff just seems odd to me, like she's clutching at straws. And I don't know where she's getting that idea that it was a good idea for Paige to come out. I think even Paige knows she has to declare this year. I think it would be a huge mistake not to. Think of it this way, and this is sort of worst case, but it's very possible. Paige stays for a sixth year, still doesn't win a championship. NBA owners, and I say NBA because we know that's where the ultimate decision making will come from with the CBA and a potential lockout. They say, nope, they're not going to budge. They have put hundreds of millions, lost hundreds of millions of dollars in this league, 10, $12 million per season that they have lost. The players come with some crazy, unreasonable demands based on what Caitlin Clark brought to them in terms of eyeballs this past season. And the NBA owners say, no, there is no possible way. We have been supporting you as a charity for the past almost 3 decades. We are not going to do this. And then what happens is the 2026 season gets canceled. That means Paige makes her debut in 2027 as a 26-year-old rookie in the WNBA. I think that would be a really, really bad thing for Paige. I think she has to come out this year. I think her stock would actually drop in terms of where she was drafted if she did not come out this year. I think a lot of teams would wonder about her mental state, her drive, her competitiveness, and things like that. There's just no way Paige can afford to stay in college for another year, despite the fact that I think Gino is probably planting that in her head, probably whispering in her ear sweet nothings of you can't leave UConn without a championship because then we can never compare you to the all-time greats of Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi and Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart and on and on. But I think Paige has to resist that. She has to resist that and come out and be ready to play in 2025 and go from there. But it's interesting to think about what how everyone in the basketball world would react to Paige going and staying a sixth year at UConn. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think there's any way Paige returns to UConn for a sixth year? If she does, why? Why do you think would be her reasoning for staying? But appreciate you checking out this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.